Hello, welcome to another VBA tutorial. In this video we are going to talk about global variables. How do you pass information from one sub to another sub within Excel? And as always, you can check out the code in the description below. So here in our first example, we're going to ask the user for what is their favorite movie, and then in another sub we're going to use that information and we're going to print out the statement what their favorite movie is. So I'll just run this quickly and then we'll explain how it works. I press F5 to run it. What is your favorite movie? We'll type in the name of the movie, and then it says what your favorite movie is. So here we have our sub, and we ask the user for the movie. Now, if you are familiar with our previous tutorials, you'll notice that the variable here, movie, wasn't initialized here. It's initialized up here, and that's a little bit different. If you initialize inside the sub, that's called a local variable, and it can only be accessed within the sub. If we initialize the variable outside of the sub, now we can access that variable within any sub within Excel. So if we do this, we get the movie from the user, and then we run this sub. Now we don't have to initialize the variable again here because we already have access to it. So that's the beauty of a global variable. You can declare a variable and you can access it anywhere. The danger is that it can be accessed anywhere. So if someone wanted to access your global variable, and they might be able to overwrite it, and then you might your data might not work all of a sudden because you'd expected it to be something and maybe a function is changing it, and that can be a pain. So that's what you need to worry about. That's a global variable, and they're really handy when you're doing things like forms. Now let's talk about local variables. This is the way you probably want to do most of your programs. We have our normal looking initialization of a variable where we do it within the sub. And this means it can only be accessed within the sub or anything that it gets passed to. So let's run this and then we'll explain this in more detail. Press F5. What is your favorite food? We call it chicken. And then it says your favorite food is chicken. So here we are doing almost the same things up here. The difference is that we are now passing in a parameter because this sub here doesn't have access unless we give it this information. The variable food isn't a global variable. So we ask the user for the information for the variable. We pass it in as a parameter. We now can use this parameter as long as you mention this here within the sub declaration. And notice that this thing here, food, you can actually replace this with whatever. You could replace this with meal. It doesn't matter. It just needs to know that we have a variable that's being passed and we're going to be using it. So that's pretty much all you need to know about global and local variables, is that locally they can only be accessed within the sub or anything that it gets directly passed to as a parameter. And a global variable, on the other hand, means that you can access the variable anywhere within the program. Hope that was helpful. See you next time.